Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is iGoRawr and welcome to Let's Auraxium, and today we are going to be looking at the light PPA, the Vonu Sovereignty's anti-infantry weapon for the Scythe. Now, unlike most reviews I've done, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the other two Empire-specific anti-infantry nose guns to give you a bit of a better idea about how the light PPA works in an actual battle and how it compares to the Banshee and Mustang. And considering that I've Auraxiumed the Banshee and dicked around with the Mustang quite a bit, I do have a few things to say about all these weapons as a whole. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's look at the stats. But first, a word from our sponsors. Hi, I'm iGoRawr, and this is Auraxis Talk, where we dish up all the latest news and gossip about Auraxis' hottest leaders and celebrities. And here's what we got for you this week. For the first time ever, General of S3X1, Pink Fluffy Chipmunk Slayer, talks publicly about how he got his name. Spoilers, he's a fairy. And just how much hentai is too much hentai? Well, Cornflakes of the Dark Reapers says there is no such thing. And finally, one spilt beer and one huge demotion. Find out which Drunk Division leader has lost some serious respect among his fellow outfit members. All of this and more on this week's Auraxis Talk. Starting off with a fire rate of 200 rounds per minute, a direct damage of 425 damage at all ranges, with a splash damage of 250 up to 1 meter, dropping off to 1.5 damage at 4 meters. Yeah, I don't know who made that decision either. It's the slowest killer of all three nose guns, but it has the biggest splash range and the most splash damage. Next is the reload speed of 2.5 seconds for a short and long reload, and it can be upgraded to 2.1 seconds. But you would be stupid to do so, because the magazine size of 20 rounds can be upgraded to 70 rounds. That is 2.5 times bigger than the default. Yeah, that probably should get changed. And finally is the velocity of 300 meters per second. So that brings us to our final question. Is this weapon worth your time? And the answer is hell yes. Quickly Auraxium this thing before it gets nerfed, because it's a bit OP. The light PPA is the fastest weapon I have ever Auraxiumed, only taking about 6 hours and 30 minutes of usage. That is about 1 kill every 18 seconds. Now, needless to say, I did luck out and find some outstanding farms. And I don't like to stroke my own ego, but, oh, who am I kidding? I love having my ego stroked. Why do you think I make these videos? Just stroke it. Stroke my ego. Love me. Tenderly, not hard, just stroke it. I am a pretty damn good pilot, and my specialty has kind of always been being a dick to infantry, but even in the hands of someone that is half as skilled as I am, you will find this weapon to be one of the biggest farming tools you have ever gotten your hands on. So where does the light PPA fit into the spectrum of the three Empire-specific nose guns? It's the one with the most range, the best accuracy, the highest splash, and an excessively large magazine. The spirit of the old PPA truly lives on within this weapon, and that just makes my spandex tight in all the right places. But it's held back by two things: its velocity and slow time to kill. The velocity is something you're going to constantly feel with this weapon if you're chasing down individual targets. Infantry that's running can easily escape the better half of the splash zone if you're hovering around ranges that I would call risky at best, and this even becomes even more true when you're hovering at ranges that I would call moderately safe. Now, obviously you have to lead your targets, but it's not as easy as leading a tank shot or the Zephyr, because you have to turn your entire aircraft to be able to hit that target. And that very fine line between hitting your target and getting lots of splash and missing completely is just that much more difficult. Especially with the new flight controls that no one was asking for, that should have been an option rather than forced down our throats. The second issue is the time to kill. Because you're going to need to slow down quite a bit to kill your targets, you're going to be leaving yourself much more open to AA than if you were using the Mustang or the Banshee. In fact, it's because of this I think the term glass cannon can easily be applied to the light PPA. When it really boils down to it, here's what the PPA is. It's a tool for exploiting people's lack of teamwork or that pug mentality of someone else is just gonna deal with it. There is no doubt in my mind that the light PPA has way more potential for devastating amounts of damage, whether it be near a sunder that's covered with infantry, near spawn rooms with people crawling all over them. Whatever it may be, the light PPA has the best chance of all three Empire-specific nose guns to deal ridiculous amounts of damage in the best case scenario. But the drawback to the PPA is that it's countered harder by anti-air. I want you to pay attention to the most of the footage I've been showing you, and I want you to notice what's similar about every single clip I've showed you. I might be destroying infantry left and right, and they can barely do anything about it, but at the same time, you have to pay attention to the fact that they don't have any AA at all. And when any sort of AA arises, I immediately try to take it down because I know the moment a second source of it shows up, I'm going to be destroyed. I only mention this for two reasons, the first of which is because the PPA doesn't function too well under any sort of anti-air pressure due to its longer times to kill. And the second reason I mention this is because, well, I got a lot of rage tells using this weapon and I don't fully understand why. I would show up at big, evenly populated fights, destroy people for a minute and a half and get all sorts of nasty messages, but yet still no one has even attempted to try to shoot me down. It's the equivalent of a small dog running up to you and it starts humping your leg, and instead of gently punting the little fucker off, you hobble down to the nearest pet store and start yelling at the fucking owner! It doesn't make any sense! Ah! Okay, I'm better now. Anyways, I do sort of feel like the light PPA is kind of the king of all the nose guns, despite its drawbacks, simply because it just has way more potential than the other two weapons. The Banshee's splash range and magazine size are just too low to ever get on the level of destruction that the light PPA can, and the Mustang is, well, the Mustang is just a bad concept for an air weapon. Its damage to infantry is way too inconsistent due to its pellet spread, and it has this weird, insane potential to kill another ESF extremely fast, so much so that I've seen people actively attempting to dogfight with it. Overall, the light PPA is an amazing weapon, but you do really need a good situation to make it shine. Similar to a Liberator or a light assault on a rooftop, so long as no one is actively trying to shut you down, you can rake in kills until you run out of ammo. But all it really takes is one or two people actively trying to shut you out to take you down, and most of the time seems to be a balancing act between risk and reward. Anyways, that's it for this time, guys. My name's iGoRawr, and I'll see you all next time.
There has to be a Wreck-It Ralph porno where they're like, I'm gonna wreck it, and then he fucks the shit out of her asshole. Set up right now.
Reinforcements available.
So out of 15?
Yeah, 15. Now, are you thinking this is an animated thing or a live action?
I'm really praying to God for live action. I hope they found some freak with giant arms.
Wow.
Wait, what are you talking about? I clearly wasn't paying attention.
The things Kitten says.
What? You wish that was true too, don't you?
I do!
I don't know, it's just random.
I
It's
really
just
want to
super
see
random.
that. I really want to see that.
Right?
Like a midget or just like a normal person?
Dude, was Wreck-It Ralph a fucking midget?
He was kind of short compared to everybody else.
And obviously not a normal person because he'd have gigantic arms and hands. So he could fist.